Call to order the Grant County Board of Commissioners work session meeting for May 16, 2017. Welcome, everybody. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance and salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico to be a symbol of perfect friendship among the United Cultures.
Are there any changes need to come on the work session agenda today? No changes needed. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion, a proper second, to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes. The general purpose of a county work session is to inform the Grant County Board of Commissioners of the agenda items that will be addressed at the next regular meeting, and for the department heads and other elected officials to communicate with the commissioners in regards to matters in their respective departments. In accordance with Grant County Resolution 1701, we welcome the public to attend a county work session. However, there will not be public input. So, next item on the agenda is to review the May 18th regular meeting agenda, and I will turn the floor over to Manager Webb.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, first item, you have 2 sets of minutes to approve, a work session and regular meeting minutes from April. Those were included, I believe those were included in your packet for review. Moving on to financial reports. Approved, disapproved, May 10th, 2017 expenditure report. Linda, would you please go over the highlights of that report, please?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, you have an expenditure report in front of you for the period ending May 10th, 2017. The total sum of this report is $2,576,902.71. Some of the highlights in the AP checks here is a check to Fuel Center Plus. This is for off-road diesel for the road department in the amount of $16,335.68. A check to Southwest Concrete and Paving. This is for the Rosedale Road Colonias construction project. That is in the amount of $53,812.36. A check to HCP Systems for the March and April medical management services at the detention center for $28,638.04. A check to Summit Food Services for February and March inmate meals and medical snacks in the amount of $44,109.22. A check to Ride Express Fleet Services for March fuel charges in the amount of $23,175.82. A check to the High Desert Humane Society for the third quarter animal control services in the amount of $16,465. A check to Zacaton Construction for the Alice Mesa Fire Station project in the amount of $106,477.25. A check to Specialty Communications for radio equipment at the PA Volunteer Fire Department in the amount of $13,160.05. A check to W.S. Starley and Company. This is for hydrant booster pump at the Sapio Creek Fire Department in the amount of $14,000. A check to Don Chalmers Ford. This is for a 2017 Ford Expedition Command Vehicle for the PA Volunteer Fire Department in the amount of $41,662. A check to Ockham Engineers. This is for the North Hurley Road Colonias construction project in the amount of $16,386.50. A check to Ascent Aviation in the amount of $31,941.88. This is for the April jet fuel. A check to the Southwest Solid Waste Authority for the March 2017 tipping fees in the amount of $70,473.80. A check to Fowler Brothers. This is for construction on Fleming Tank and Wind Canyon Drive improvements in the amount of $37,036.16. A check to White Sands Construction, and this is for the Tucasa construction project payment. It's in the amount of $51,649.88. A check to Kansas State Bank, and this is for a 2013 ambulance for the Gila Regional EMS in the amount of $25,523.56. A check to Gila Regional Medical Center. This is for the mobile X-ray system. It was a capital appropriation project in the amount of $125,000. A check to Casco Industries, and this is for various bunker gear for Tyrone Volunteer Fire Department in the amount of $47,306.25. A check to Morrow Enterprises, this is for the North Hurley Road Colonias construction in the amount of $221,285.53. A check to Southwest Concrete and Paving, this is for the road materials for school bus route projects in the amount of $11,335.18. And also included in this expenditure report is payroll checks totaling $417,419.39, and this is for pay period 8 and pay period 9. Any questions?
Any questions?
I have one. The check for $6,000 or so for notices of violation mailed out. This is Peregrine Corporation.
What page is it?
It's page 34. Almost 7,000. Mail out NOVs. I assumed that was notices of violation.
Notice of valuation.
Oh, gosh. Whenever I get them, they're notices of violation. Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you.
So is that a mail service?
That's the company that sends out the notice of valuations from the assessor's office.
So we contract that out, basically, that service.
That is correct. Sonic inspections, I'll come by and see, but just one, just for curiosity, right, and entertainment purposes. On page 29, $550 to Foxworth Galbraith for poker chips for the Silver High Cafeteria. You mean you weren't invited? Right. Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
That's DWI activities that she does during prom to curb underage drinking. So Cindy does prom activities with Cobra and Silver High, and
Okay.
that's her DWI ground
I
fund.
guess I just didn't
And they
realize that.
actually, she has to get that approved through the state, and they approve that, so it's part of her grounds. So that's what that is.
Okay, cool, thanks.
I guess I just didn't realize that Foxworth sold poker chips.
Me either.
So I have a question on the animal control. That's a contract that we have with them for services? And that covers everything that they do for the county in terms of
Town and
town
county
and
split
county?
it.
Town and
We
county
split it.
split it. It's about $10,000 a month.
Yes.
And they're barely getting by on that.
Yeah, we increased that a very little bit last year, and it hadn't been increased in, like she said, 8 or 10 years. So they do a lot with very little. And I think we only increased it maybe $3,000.
It wasn't very much.
It was between $25 and like $28.
So they're paying for all their vehicles, all their expenses out of that.
We do maintain, we've provided one vehicle that Buddy utilizes, and we do the maintenance on that one particular vehicle. They take care of the rest. Any other questions, Commissioners? No? Moving on to new business, item D, update on secure rural schools and payments in lieu of taxes, otherwise known as PILT funding program. Melanie Goodman from Senator Udall's office and Cynthia Hull from Senator Heinrich's office have both agreed to come and provide an update on the status of both of those programs, to allow you to ask any questions that you might have of them. We did not get a confirmation from Pierce's office. So, any questions on that? Moving on to item C, approve or disapprove or E, I can't read today.
Yes, sir.
E, approve, disapprove proclamation declaring June 16th through the 18th, 2017 as Fiesta Latina. Mr. Curietta requested this item be placed on the agenda. You have anything you want to explain? No? Okay.
It's nice that he's writing his proclamations much shorter. And I appreciate that, because you're going to have to start reading them the way you were writing them.
Next, item F, approve, disapprove delinquent solid waste accounts. Ted Martinez has provided those delinquent solid waste accounts, which are subject to the lien process, for your approval.
How many of them are there? Do we know?
I didn't count them, there's a bunch.
This is very few.
Really?
You know, the first time we did it, it was like that.
So I did have a question on that. There's one, and it just may be that I don't know how to read what I'm looking at here, but there's one that's actually for the state of New Mexico.
Are you surprised the state isn't paying its bills?
Well, it's a paltry $103. Come on.
Well, you don't, first thing, they don't go to this until they get to be 100 to begin with. But at 100, by statute or by ordinance, they have to be out.
They have to go, okay.
That's why you see a,
So you give me explanation on
what this is?
Yeah.
You want to do it?
So we have a solid waste ordinance that states that citizens must pay $5 a month. You're billed quarterly, you can pay it annually. When those payments are not made on the solid waste accounts, then the ordinance allows the commission to put a lien on that property in which that solid waste account has not been paid. So you approve the liens. Then I actually sign them. They get filed in the clerk's office. When the individual comes in and pays their bill, then that lien is released.
Okay. So what does it cost us to place a lien?
Nothing.
We have the clerk's office, and it helps.
Ted prepares the liens. He brings me this back to sign, other than maybe my cramp in my hand when I get done signing all of them. But then they go to Marisa. She files them. So it's not, it's part of staff duties. It's part of Ted's duties.
So I guess Ted's made some effort to contact these people somehow.
Yes, he actually does a pretty diligent effort in trying to reach out to people. He does try to work with them. He brings several in to me, well, what do you think about this? And we try to work through it and give them every opportunity to correct this before placing the lien on the property.
The problem is, the lien doesn't do anything until they potentially sell the property. So
I have a question. What percent? So do you do this quarterly, annually, or just when annually? And so what percent, once the lien is placed on the property, what percentage of the folks pay up?
I can't answer that. Ted's supposed to be here on Thursday.
Okay.
Probably should have
Is there
had
some
it.
sort of a late fee assessed or some sort of a fee or okay?
I don't know.
Yes, we know someone on this list is deceased. Who should we let know? Okay.
Kelly might explain non-payment.
Well, yeah, in one case out of however many hundred this is. And these are just folks who don't get billed for their landfill service along with their water and sewer, right?
non-municipality people only.
Well, the reason I asked it that way, so this is good for me to clarify now that we've got some sewer lines going in outside of city limits along Ridge Road, but within county, are those folks going to be paying this on their sewer water bill?
No.
It'll still be independent because they're not within the city. Okay. How come we don't combine? There's some ordinance that says we can't do that. Seems like a better way to collect.
to combine it with what's going in on Ridge Road? or-
If they're buying water from the city, I agree with you, because then you have the hammer to say, if you don't pay your landfill fees, we turn off the water.
Right, so
But if
it's
they're
so
only
easy to
getting
turn off the
sewer,
sewer.
if they're only getting sewer, it's pretty hard to turn that
But we
off.
do have a lot who buy from the city for water. In fact, more than get sewer, right?
I would assume so, yes.
Is that worth looking into? To reduce the
But do they get water
size?
directly from the city? Yeah, I mean, it's probably worth looking at.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, because if they can come in and prove that they're paying a landfill fee on a water bill,
Yeah.
they would be excused from this. Now, the problem is,
Two properties, one property in the county and one in town.
right,
And if I
it's
pay
each
both.
dwelling.
Yeah, right.
It's each dwelling, any inhabitable dwelling gets the fee, even if it's on the same piece of property.
Any other questions? No? Moving on to item G, Regional Transportation Planning Organization Presentation and Road Safety Audit Update. Cerise Grijalva with the COG will be here to give you that update. She has provided some information that was included in your packet. Item H, approve, disapprove appointment of 7 individuals to the Grant County Public Shooting Range Advisory Board. Those applications were included in your packet for review. There were 7 appointments, seven applicants, and so hopefully you've had a chance to look at those. And what we're proposing this time is staggering the terms. What we ran into is all 7 came up at the same time, so they'll be staggered terms.
And you want us to stagger them? Yeah. You want us to go ahead and... I'll come up with some really fair way to do that.
Or if you prefer us to do that, we can make that recommendation.
I think we can all put our big boy pants on and do that.
Yes.
Right, we don't. Okay.
Any more questions under new business? Moving on to agreements. Item I, approve, disapprove agreement A1714, memorandum of understanding supporting community development of Fort Baird, Grant County, New Mexico. After Abby's reviewed this for about the 3rd time, I believe she's got some more concerns. So I think we would recommend tabling this.
They're not major.
They're not major,
I
but,
just want to put a couple more cautionary clauses in there.
From the agenda.
okay, well.
And stick it back on.
Stick it back on at a later date.
Okay with that?
Are you all right with that?
It's not about the project or anything. I just thought, you know, I thought about it, and I think maybe we should put, oh, sorry. They're not about the project. I just think maybe we should put in a termination clause so the partners can get out if they want, things like that. I looked at it before and I thought, you know, it's okay, but then I thought about it more in the shower. And yeah, and I also wanted to put something in.
I always wondered what
I
you
told
thought about
Charlie
the
and that
shower
was
head.
where I think about stuff. And something that makes it so that we're not financially obligated. And it doesn't say anything in here about us being
I personally
financially
like that.
obligated, but I just thought, let's just put it in, just in case.
It does have some liability clause in the back that...
That's what I actually put in.
Yeah.
So I just thought maybe just a couple more things, just to make sure we're,
Do you know if it's been passed by Santa Clara as of yet?
I don't know.
Because we said we didn't want to pass it until they pass it anyway, so
Okay,
I
I'm not
want to
sure.
make sure that they pass it first.
I can follow up on that.
So I marked up a couple of places, but I'll spare everybody since you're going to review it. I'd like to run it by you.
Ken Ladner's name is spelled wrong.
Yes, it is. He's going to be my...
Ladner.
He's not Ladman.
Two places.
So that was it.
Okay. Anybody have a problem with it, just removing that from the agenda for Thursday? Okay. Let it be said, let it be done. I think that might have been like Ramsey's or somebody.
Moving on to resolutions, item J, approve, disapprove resolution R1718, authorizing and approving submission of a completed application for financial assistance and project approval to the New Mexico Finance Authority for bringing roads in Wind Canyon and Fleming Tank to county standards. Misha, do you want to explain this and how you derived that amount?
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. This is for the road improvements that we did on Fleming Tank and Wind Canyon. We sent the bills out because, based on statute, once we put the bills out, we had 45 days to pay the full amount without incurring any interest. So we did that to try to see if we could get 50% or more, which we did. 50% or more of the people paid 100% of what they owed. And so that reduced our need for the loan amount. And so that's how the amount for the loan was derived. That way we didn't have to take out a full $106,000 loan. We're taking, in the $60,000 range, so.
Does everybody understand kind of what we're doing with the loan and everything? Okay.
And so everyone that was left that didn't pay in full will now make payments monthly and incur interest based on what we get from the loan, which is from NMFA, they told us 2%.
Any questions?
Well, I don't know if this is inappropriate for this meeting, if I should just get with you, but I do want to raise the question of how these are being billed. That it's my understanding that's being handled in your office by somebody who doesn't normally do billing, using software that isn't designed for billing. And I think maybe all I want to do is say that it strikes me it would be more efficient to merge that operation into the treasurer's office, and to ask that you all think about doing that, unless you already have, in which case you can tell me why it's best done the way it's done now.
I can't speak for what happened before. I believe it was in that office at one time, and for whatever reason, the decision was made to remove it from that office. I can't speak for what happened before.
I'm guessing that Misha doesn't remember that either, since we're all new here.
So,
And Commissioner Webb and I do have Manager Webb and I do have discussions on this frequently, so.
It probably wouldn't be a bad, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, please go.
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to get a little QuickBooks or something to where you could actually put in a receivable and apply cash, and if we're going to do it outside of the treasurer's office.
and Misha and I have had that discussion on how we can improve this process moving forward, and we do have some ideas, but that's another great one, and that's a fairly inexpensive purchase.
I'm sure Harry could, and then I can help you with setting up QuickBooks.
And I think it's real good that we ask these type of questions, but, because remember, there's also a fine line about micromanaging.
Yeah.
And if that's the way you choose to do it, I mean, we support you and get things done the way you can. Of course, I think a program would be good, but
I know
for the simple reasons of everyday business, I think that's, there's a fine line there, and we don't want to micromanage.
Other questions, comments? Next item, K, approve, disapprove resolution number R1719, preliminary budget for fiscal year 2017-18. So the preliminary budget, as Linda and I recommended to you, was option B at the hearing on Friday. That's what has been, what we said we were going to present to you. We've made the changes that were discussed. That's what has been sent out to you. It's down for any questions, or if Linda has some things that she wishes to go over, whatever you want to do. If you want to start with your questions, that's great.
I have more of a statement. Position, as it were, I emphasized this at the budget hearing. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to think about it further, but it's my feeling that we would do well to spend now on the position, the appraiser position that has been requested, that is to replace Matthew in that office. It's one of the 5 that are shown here as frozen or eliminated, but in that case, frozen, right? And I still feel that we should fund it now that we have the carryover. In fact, this carryover is understated and so I do believe we have the carryover. So I just wanted to reiterate that that's my position on that issue, and the rest of it looks good to me.
My feelings haven't changed and my position hasn't changed from Friday, that we try to put forth a very cautious, conservative budget, not knowing where our financial position is going to be in the next year or so. So that's what we've tried to accomplish with this budget.
Anybody else? Next item.
Actually, I do have, I just want to make absolutely sure that I understand. So this is a preliminary budget, and we have until 1st of August to submit a final budget, so
Well, the end of July.
end of July. So we can make changes anytime between now and then at a meeting.
We will have to approve this budget one more time.
Yeah.
So yes, so you'll approve, preliminary budget is due by the end of May, so that's what we're approving now, and then we have, from that time, so they will grant approval of the preliminary budget, so we have an operating budget going into July, and then once our fiscal year is closed out in June, that's when we roll those figures forward, and we'll have a better idea of some revenue sources and where we closed out the fiscal year, the current fiscal year, and then you will approve the final budget. It's a two-part process.
And theoretically, we would know about secure rural schools at that time as well, correct?
Should,
Thank you.
possibly.
Theoretically.
Theoretically, possibly. Maybe.
I would say no. Now, you will know about Pill. I don't know if you need to cut another $2 million out of this or not.
Okay, if there's no more question on the preliminary budget, we'll move on to bids and requests for proposals.
I bet they're marking detention, airport, and road departments, just so if you had questions on the...
Are you clairvoyant, or-
three big ones. No, because that's what mine are marking.
Okay.
Easiest looking through if you had any questions.
Those are the three bigs,
All right, thanks.
or two bigs, anyway.
Moving on, item L, approve, disapprove bid B1608 Santa Rita Volunteer Fire Station. Commissioners, you want to go over this, please?
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioner. It is the recommendation of the architect and our recommendation that we award the bid to the apparent low bidder, Western Builders LLC. So that's our recommendation for you guys to take into consideration on Thursday.
Any questions on this project?
So we have another fire station being built right now, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I need to get with somebody separate from this meeting, I guess, to get some of my questions, because so how's that going?
The construction is going well on that one. We did have some slowdown due to weather, but the roof is on, it has been dried in, sheetrock. The construction is moving along, we should finish that project.
And so where does the money come from, these construction projects?
There's state fire funds and
Okay.
fire excise funds.
So it's fully funded?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah, it's nothing out of general fund.
Okay.
does not impact the general fund.
But if you want to speak more, Commissioner.
And you are the one that looks after that, personally after those construction?
The construction, yes.
Randy and Misha, and really the other ones in your district, you probably ought to get with these two and go visit it.
Yeah,
That was nice.
okay, thanks.
I do have a question. So so the excise is a tax, correct? And that is a county tax or a state tax?
It's a county tax.
And how does that come about? Is that a state statute, or it's part of GRT?
It's part of the it's a part of the GRT structure. That's one of the county implements that's allowed to be enacted, and this county has enacted.
But it goes to the state,
Goes to the state,
and then they allocate it back out.
It's distributed like any other increment of receipts tax. but it goes to the fire department.
But it can only be used for this.
And so then the state fire funds part, is that an application? We apply for that money?
Yes, you just approved those recently, the applications to the state fire marshal's office for that funding. That was one of the
one of the
thing to do
items
during
on
the
there.
legislative session where they were trying to take the carryover
all that
funds.
away.
That's that fund, which is funded through insurance monies. It goes to the state fire marshal's office. They're the ones that make that distribution.
And by having more fire stations, what it does is it lowers the ratings. And Randy can really go over this, but if you do that for your residents, then their insurance costs come down. So it's a tax they have to pay. But if we do it right and strategically place them in the right places, we can lower everybody's insurance throughout our county. So they basically get that back.
And I would assume that also increases our ability to fight
Big
wildland
wildland
fire.
fires.
Yes.
We probably, in the county, probably have 2 more locations that probably need to be dealt with. One in Harry's district, and
Which is where?
I would assume down on the ridges, and one in, I think, Gabriel's district, probably up on the end of Swan. And I think at that point in time, we will be
Towards Dos
Griegos, and they already
They
own
have to come
property.
over
Yep.
from PA,
Currently,
right?
PA services that, so they would have to come all the way into town and go back.
All the way back up.
It doesn't make any sense. So that's probably one that you guys need to look at in the next couple of years. And like I said, down on Ridge Road, I don't know why we couldn't build that on the property that's currently being used by the detention center even. So there's property owned by both of those already. And so long as the fire funds stay in place and those fire stations can make their own payments, all it does is help our residents.
And the state fire marshal's office also has to approve construction of these stations. We don't get to make that decision solely on our own.
So we make a request to them for the station, we have to support why it makes sense, et
Randy
cetera, et
does.
cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
Randy takes care of all of that.
And is there any concern with not having volunteers and staff for new locations? Always. I mean, it's easy to build a building, and it sounds like you've thought about this a lot, so that's another piece of it.
It just so happened, I was speaking with the chairman of the Chiefs Association yesterday, and we discussed that, because the average age in some of these fire departments is probably 65 years old, 70 years old. And so we really need to start some kind of a recruitment process to try and get some of these younger people and younger residents involved to straighten up our departments. And no offense to them, we thank them very much for being dedicated as of right now, but we really want to try and recruit some young people in there and get the average down a little bit.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, and I think that's really our strategy moving forward. We are going to put together a type of county-wide recruiting, which will showcase our equipment, our stations, our officers, and I think that's what's crucial is the training. I think we're a stepping stone for some of these young people to get in the volunteer fire department and move into those paid fire departments now, because some stations have a lot, some stations don't. But so when you talk about building new fire stations, the fact is that for the first year they're on their own, and then at that point then they get a ISO rating and inspection from the state fire marshal's office. And then at that point, they'll determine their status as a main station, and then that funding will start coming in. So your basic funding is about $55,000 for just your basic station, and then from that point on, depending on your training, your water sources, how many personnel you have, so forth and so on, that determines the amount of funding you'll get on an annual basis.
So more stations don't necessarily dilute the funding that other stations receive?
Probably for that first year, yes.
Besides the first year,
After that,
right?
yes.
After that.
Not currently. Right. I would assume there's move afoot. That's why we're...
And now that we're talking about fire stations and training and what have you, I'd just like to bring up that, Randy, you all have done a really good job. You have, and talking to the chairman of the Chiefs Association, which is Mr. Chavez, about 3 years ago, we got together with Western and started putting together some classes and thinking we could get people certified through the university. For some reason or other, that fell apart, and Mr. Chavez has taken it upon himself and the other chiefs to put together classes so that people can take classes here after work and during the week instead of having to go all the way to Socorro to get that done. So I applaud you guys for doing that. I believe the first class is going through as of right now, correct?
Right.
And
I wasn't trying to get that out yet.
well,
Mr.
I
Chairman.
tell you what, I was excited to hear that.
But I think what we're trying to do is make sure that we have qualified personnel at each fire department. And so, yes, we put together a cadet class. It is in the process now. It is at night and on weekends, and the dedication of the people that are on that now seems to be working very well. And so, at the end of this term or this first cadet class, we will be presenting in front of the commission what we've done and how we moved forward with this.
Well, I applaud you for that.
Maybe we can move on with some more.
I know that we worked hard to try and get Western to sponsor it, to put out some kind of certification through Western, but taking it upon yourselves to do this is really something that really has to be applauded, because that was a big step for this area.
And Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Ramos, I think that's the support that we always had from this commission, going back many commissions back and moving forward. I think that when you look at it, these are your resources as a community, and you're our leaders as far as making sure that we have the right resources to protect these our property owners, whether it be structure fire or wildland. So your support is definitely key to our success, and so we want to thank you. We want to thank Charlene as well as the county manager, her leadership in this, and so it's all working together right now, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions? You good? Next item will be convening as the Grant County Health Care Claims Board for item M. Approve, disapprove April 2017 health plan claims in the amount of $8,078.12. There are 8 claims to Gila Regional Medical Center in that amount, 0 claims to Gila Regional Medical Center ambulance. Item N, approve, disapprove indigent burial from Terrazas Funeral Chapels. You have 1 indigent burial certificate for approval. Any questions on either of those items?
Nope. I like the fact that they list out the items on the back page of that. Guess I
Any questions, Commissioner Brown? No? Just checking. Usually you have questions on some of those claims, so just making sure. So that concludes our agenda.
Can I make a suggestion with Alicia and Mr. Brown? That way he's right next to you.
I've already called this spot for next year.
Okay.
I've licked it. It's like a donut. Okay, so moving on, we'll move on to county reports. Nobody from the hospital. So I guess we'll go with you, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commission members. My report for April 15th through May 11, 2017. Item number 1, policies and procedures. That status remains the same. We're continuously revising and reviewing those policies to bring them up to standards. Item number 2 is the detention facility update. We currently have 2 vacancies. Item number 3, on our assessment, we're currently under revisions right now, and that item remains the same. We did have the associations come down and do a primary assessment on the facility, and that's what we're working on now for making the revisions. To give you a brief report, out of the 34 standards, 20 of them were in compliance, 10 of them were partial. That means that we had to do an update on them. We had 3 of them that were in non-compliance, and 2 of those had to do with the contractors, the medical, and they needed to do some proofs from the medical, and also on our kitchen staff had to do a shadow board and had to do a policy on the utensils that they use. So they had to do those revisions, and then we needed one from the fire marshal's office on the fire prevention or fire proposal for evacuation. And that's how it came out. We'll get, the Association of Counties will come back sometime in July or August and then review where we're at then. So that's just a preliminary report on the assessments. On the training update, Sergeant Galindo, basic training for the newly hired officers. They completed their first 160 hours of classroom. Currently now they're in phase 2. This is with a field training officer. They have been on different shifts now, learning how the differences are in each one of the shifts, so they're on their second 160 hours. We anticipate that these 2 employees should complete their training about the second week in June. All other employees, the training files are currently being updated to meet compliance standards. Item number 5 on our intervention inmate support program. We held a meeting on May the 9th, and we discussed agenda and program updates, so we'll be working on those. Item number 6 on our recognition, we're awaiting nominations for Employee of the Month. Item number 7, detention center statistics. Average daily population from 4/15/2017 to 5/11 is 88, 2 less than last reporting period. High population males is 74, 3 less than last reporting period. High population females is 21, 1 less than last reporting period. Currently for May 11, 2017, there are 86 inmates booked in the facility. Between May 12, 2016 and May 11, 2017, 1-year period, the average daily population confined in the facility was 86. The average length of stay for this reporting period is 31.44 days. And again, I submit for you the CJ 5DA survey, jail inmate confinement report. Currently, statistics show the activities remain comparable to last month. Item number 8, monthly agency totals. For April of 2017, Silver City Police Department 82, Grant County Sheriff's Department 35, New Mexico State Police 23, Baird Police 12, Santa Clara 2, Hardy Police 8, New Mexico Game and Fish had 1, Western New Mexico University had 2, and for that reporting period, we held 3 prisoners in Hidalgo County. Item number 9 on our detention facility had 34 district court transports. Division 1 Magistrate Court, we had 24. Division 2, we had 3. We had none of them from the municipal courts. We had 14 medical transports, and the total number equals 75 as compared to 59 last month. And again, I think the issue that we had last month because they were lower is because on district court, we were taking large numbers to district court all at one time, and now it's kind of gone back to, it's starting to go back the way it was before, so that was the reason we have the increase this month. Probation violations, we had 31. Parole violators, we had 1. Inmate awaiting transport sentenced to a DOC rehab center during this period equals 2. Total inmates charged with warrants is 46, and the total number of special inmates on May 11th, total 10. That's my report, sir.
Any questions for Mike?
Do you anticipate any problems filling those 2 vacancies?
I'm sorry, sir?
Do you anticipate any problems filling those 2 vacancies that you mentioned at the very beginning? You said you had 2 vacancies at the facility, which I also heard before, because they're exempt from being frozen. And I want to make sure that it looks to you like filling those spots will be able to happen fairly soon.
On your vacancies that you got, you just want to know if you're going to be able to get those filled.
No, sir. In fact, right now, we have a number of applicants. The only thing is on the vacancies that we fill, we certainly, pretty much scrutinize who the individuals are, and that comes out in the background, background investigation and stuff that we do. But we don't anticipate that filling the 2 vacancies that we have now, that we should have any problem, because we do have a number of applicants that come in. It's just their qualifying information that they provide for us, and we kind of go through that process of elimination and try and get the best applicants that we can for the facility.
Of course, I just wanted to know they were a good pool, so thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay. Well, it's come to my attention that we have the new detention center, not detention center, dispatch center administrator, and Ms. Salkowski, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about dispatch?
Good morning.
You can push the white button until it turns red.
This one? Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, you guys have any questions?
We just want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Barb. Okay. Sorry. My name is Barb Sokovsky, and I've been in the dispatching business since, 26 years now. I've been certified through the academy since 1980. I've been a director of Sierra County Regional Dispatch for over 12 years. And I'm really happy to be here. I really like this community, and folks have been really helpful, and we're progressing to make things better.
How's everything at dispatch? Everything going good?
Good, yeah. Yes.
Anybody have any questions? All right.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're always welcome at our work sessions if you have anything you want to tell us.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Earl, anything new?
A little bit. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I went over North early this morning. I see they've got the road paved over there. They do still have it closed down. Traffic is still traveling back and forth, so I talked to their superintendent this morning. The striping company's supposed to be there today, and their fencing company, where they had to take the fence down, is supposed to be there sometime this week. He said the road should be completely open by next week. On Tucasa, they got the bores done. I've got the electrical line laid in and the conduit laid in, and I'm waiting for somebody to come and inspect it before I can cover it up. And then I'm hoping to get the water in, talking with Robert Esqueda. He's still waiting on some parts to come in. He's hoping they'll be in by Thursday, where I can get started on it. Wayne Canyon, I talked to Fowler's this morning. They should be done out there this week with their part of the contract. And I did want to let you all know if they don't see the county out there on those low water crossings, it's probably going to be July before we can get out there and get those low water crossings put in, which I don't think's unreasonable. I mean, the main part of it was the road getting done over there. But right now, we're really tied up. I had about 2,800 tons of half-inch chips to haul all over from Cliff all the way into town. We should finish with that this week, and then we're going to start patching those chip seal roads. And so I usually do all that chip seal in the month of June. And as soon as we get that done, and then we'll get out there and get those little water crossings put in.
Okay.
Other than that, it's just been business as usual down there.
Any questions for him? Who do we decide is in charge of roads? Aaron. Bill.
Is that a joke or is that?
We decided to have 500 and 700 miles of county roads, and so it should be you.
I know that Frank will ask me about the low water crossings getting started in July. I don't know anything about what I'm really asking, so bear with me. I assume that you'll try to get that done before the rains start?
Yes, ma'am. It won't take us very long to get that done.
Okay.
Even if it doesn't rain hard enough out there to wash anything away. So we should be able to get that done, even if it does shower every day.
So you're bringing these roads up to county standards in Wayne Canyon, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so if one of Alicia's constituents approached me and said that, if this happened, and said that it's really nice what you're doing, except that the gravel's not even an inch thick on the road, how would I respond to that?
Just let me know. I haven't gone out and inspected it yet.
Okay.
I was talking with Fowlers this morning. They're out there getting their densities and stuff on today, but it's got to go through me before the final on it.
Well, my guess is you did some sort of measurement on the road and knew how much, what the thickness should be and how much it was going to take, and...
Yes, sir. It should be 6 inches.
Yeah, okay.
And I think the key, and correct me if I'm wrong, Earl, but the key is when Earl accepts it, is that he's accepting it to do the maintenance on it from then on. So that's the important part. The building of the road and the fixing of it up front is the least expensive thing we do. It's the promise to take care of that road into perpetuity that's expensive.
Right.
All right, anything else? Randy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Grounds superintendent and building maintenance, working on the handicap parking lot signs that were at the conference center. As you know, we're all knocked down as to where they were placed, so those have been replaced and put up now that the conference center is being a little more active. Some smoke detectors also at the fairgrounds were also looked at and fixed, and that's the thing about I like about Jason, the maintenance superintendent that we brought aboard. A lot of this stuff is being fixed in-house, and prior to that, we've had to go out to contractors. Not that we can't use them, but I think we can save some money by his expertise in these areas. Also did we had to snake out some drains at the Baton Park. That was also done in-house. So just with him on board, he's also helping us at the airport, fueling planes and getting his feet wet as far as getting stuff done. So I really appreciate it. He's taken a lot off of me. So I want to thank him for that and all the maintenance department on the work that they've done. Talking about the DWI life, and the day in the life of the DWI at Western Mexico University was put on by Cindy McLean. There was about 90 students that went through that process. I want to thank Judge Hall, former Judge Hall, and Judge Laney. They actually sat there for a couple of hours apiece going through the process and going through the legal portion of what it really takes when you get caught DWI. I think it's a great experience for these young people to go through, understanding the process through the courts and the mistakes and the money and all of that comes along with it. I think Judge Hall was serious about his courtroom on that day as I sat in there, and he made these students really look and think about the consequences of a DWI at their age, because he went through the whole process. So I want to thank him. I want to thank Cindy and her staff for putting that on. And again, back to the students, as you know, with some of the purchases that she does, we're able to breathalyze some of the high school students based on the parents' knowledge of that. And so I think the program really works both at the high school level and at the collegiate level as well. So I want to thank her for that. Correcaminos, we're working on the Blues Fest now. It's coming up, making sure that our buses are running that weekend. For a lot of people, it's going to be packed every single year. After that, the next weekend comes the rodeo. Working with them and the sheriff, knowing that less traffic in the rodeo area will help divert some of those accidents and some of those issues that come up with that. So we're working, Kim and I are working with Mr. Brown, Tyler Brown, on that for the rodeo as well. From a fire standpoint, we did have a structure fire Friday night in Arenas Valley. I want to thank Whiskey Creek, Tyrone, and Fort Baird. We were all there till about 1 in the morning. Total loss to the structure. Don't know the cause of it. That's under investigation. But we were able to put that out without any damage to any other homes in the area. Wildland fire, as you know, the Gila has some fires, none in Grant County. The Bear Fire, the Baca Fire, which is about 350 acres, lightning caused, and then the ongoing, the Kerr Fire, which is about 3,300 acres. We're having a lot of activity at the airport now. More planes are being stationed out there. I want to thank Rebecca, our new airport manager as well, getting all of that stuff in order and in place and making sure those fees are paid, those tie-down fees are paid, and looking at ways to generate revenue. So I want to thank her for that. I think that's basically it, unless you have any questions for me. I don't have anything. I want to try to make it short.
Questions, Fred?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, real quick, Commissioner Billings, we have a monthly inspection of our construction sites of the fire departments. You're more than welcome to meet with us. We meet with the architect, the contractor, and the fire station out there to see the progress. And so that's what ASK Architect brings to the table is that project management to make sure that they're on time, the cost is there, and making sure we're staying within budget with as little as changes as should be. And so you're welcome to be on one of those. I'll make sure that you get an email with enough time to see if you want to attend one of those.
Yeah, thanks for updating us on the process.
That's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Okay, any questions? Thanks, Randy. Misha?
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. Yeah, I'll continue with the LS Mesa. I think right now it's the 24th for Commissioner Billings. That's the tentative date. It's usually around 1 in the afternoon, but I'll send you an email and keep you posted on that. Colonias, just a little update. I think most of you know, we applied for continuation of Rosedale. That project was denied due to lack of funding, nothing else. The Colonias Board got a little over $5 million this year as compared to years past, and they focused more on water and wastewater community type projects. So ours was rejected due to funding, so everyone knows. Tucasa is having a site meeting on Thursday at 10 a.m. I will try to attend, and if Earl doesn't know, he does now, in case he wants to attend. The architect sets that up with the general contractor. So he let me know yesterday that it's this Thursday at 10. He is trying to get them changed to Tuesdays, and I told him, there's always the work sessions, so if we can try to make it a Tuesday that's not a work session, that would be great. What's that?
How about any other day besides Tuesday or Thursday?
Well, they want Thursday, and of course they pick commission meeting day, so, yes. Comprehensive land use plan, I am expecting the final draft of that today, actually. It will be put on our website for review. I will get that out to all of the commissioners, so you guys have the opportunity to review it. It is a final draft, but we are open up for all public input and comment. We hope to have the final for your approval at the June meeting, and Bohannon, the two planners that have been working, will be here for the work session in June to discuss where we are with the final and answer any questions that any of you might have on how that process worked. Airport, W&M Communications has started the fiber installation on the roadway. They're bringing that fiber back in, and then what we have to do is we have to put conduit from our facilities to the road. So right now we're hoping that we can maybe do that with Earl's group, or we'll check with 2C, who's going to be out there, and see what it might cost to have them just bore it through for us. So that's the part that we have to do. They will run the fiber, but we have to provide the conduit. That's the cost to us for that. The Forest Service has the same cost. We're not doing the Forest Service facility. They have to run their own conduit. But that'll improve our internet capabilities.
So are we going to try to run one to the offices and to the terminal?
Yes, sir. Yep. Faywood Fire Department, Volunteer Fire Department, we're working on a 40,000-gallon storage tank with the pump and hydrant as requested by the State Fire Marshal's office. BHI is also working on the engineering and design for that, and that project is being paid for by a grant that came through the State Fire Marshal's office. So, yeah, and Randy kicked in a little bit out of his funds to get that going. And our ICIP, which is our Infrastructure Capital Improvement Plan, started the process on that. Public meetings, if you guys saw it in the paper, it was announced. Public meeting started yesterday in Cliff. Today, part of my staff is in Hachita. I think it's the first time we've actually held a public meeting in Hachita, in a while at least. Tomorrow, it will be here in the administration building at 5. And then on Thursday, I will be out in Members at the Roundup Lodge at 5:30. So that'll cover the county in allowing the public to have input as it pertains to our capital improvement.
Where's that meeting going to be held here tomorrow?
Right here.
At what time?
At 5 p.m.?
Better wrap it up quick.
At 6, right.
That was tonight.
How long will that meeting take?
No, that's tonight. That's tonight.
Tonight.
This is tonight. This is tomorrow. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think there was anything else on the agenda when I got on
Yours is tonight.
there.
That's tomorrow.
Sorry, I confused you.
Those are the same thing.
So I got one question on the fiber optic. The only other person that has offices out there, I believe, is Mr. Nichols.
Correct.
Has he been notified that there's a possibility of this?
I have not notified him directly, but he is on my list. I did not expect WNM to get on it so quickly, honestly, and when I was out there meeting with Rebecca, they were digging trenches, so it is on my agenda to get a hold of him.
Yeah, this is not CenturyLink.
Yeah, they definitely got on top of it. When they committed, they did it.
So, yeah, why don't you get a hold of him and let so he knows. There's a possibility that he didn't want to do it,
Right.
but possibility he does. Anything else?
Are we on questions, or did you?
Yeah, question.
Oh, no, you're...
Well, one's related to that. I guess I don't totally understand how the fiber costs are shared. You mentioned the Forest Service would have to pay for its own conduit. It conjured an image in my mind of two parallel conduits wasting work. That's probably not what you meant. Are we sharing some of these costs with the Forest Service?
So the Forest Service is quite a bit farther down the road than where our facilities are. So WNM is bringing it back from their box, which is on the airport. I say box, they've got a small building on the airport property, and then they're bringing it back down the road, which would be towards the east, and then we just have to tie out. So we have the terminal, then next to that we have our main building, or where the private airport lounge is, I guess, and then Pilot's Lounge. And then we have T-hangers, then we have the City Link, which is Scott Nichols, and then the Forest Service. So when we run our conduit straight out, it's quite a ways down before the Forest Service even has an opportunity to pass.
So we're paying all of our part, and then they pay additional part?
They will pay to run the conduit from their building to the roadway to where the fiber is being run for free by WNM, and then WNM will pull the fiber through that conduit.
Now, it makes sense. So it's being run on the roadway, and WNM bears that cost?
Correct.
As an investment?
Yes.
Okay. That makes more sense to me.
Okay.
About the comprehensive plan, land use plan, I may just have missed things, but now that we're on final draft, could you explain what opportunities there have been for public input in that process besides the questionnaire that I filled out?
So the way that we did it was we went to stakeholders that were invited in the beginning, public stakeholders, just like the town of Silver City has done, which you and I are involved in that, and that's kind of the main public input, and then we gave them the opportunity to do the survey.
So there was never a series of open meetings, like, for example, on the ICIP that you're having?
Not as the way that the town has done it. No, we did not do it that way.
And was that a decision that Bohannon and Houston made, or that you made?
It was just a collaborative, it's just a process that we've gone through on it.
And do you feel that public input meetings on the comprehensive land use plan would have been a waste of time? Why did you decide not to have them?
Just the process on the way that we've gone through it, went with the stakeholders. We have an existing plan. We're just updating the existing plan. They do have the opportunity, again, on this final draft, to give us some more input. If they feel that input is, if we as a group feel that input is important enough, we will be addressing it. we have so many different stakeholders that were involved in it.
How many is that?
Oh, gosh, the initial stakeholder meeting, we had probably 20 or so people from the community. The COG is involved, so they represent a multitude of people within the community. Myself, Charlene, and Priscilla have spent most of the time going over the drafts with the Bohannon.
So, okay, somebody who hadn't been identified by you or Bohannon as a stakeholder would have had a chance to participate in the survey.
Yes.
Presumably could have taken initiative and sent some input anyway, and will somehow know that they could read and comment on a final draft.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
But really would never have had a chance to come and hear what other people had to say or learn about the process first or anything like that. They would have had to have been identified as a stakeholder first.
Correct.
I think it's really hard for us to know who all the stakeholders are and who all cares. And I do think it often happens that no one cares and no one comes. But I think it's important to give a chance in case there are folks who care. And I wish we had done that. I think the next comp plan, I won't be here anymore because they tend to be staggered pretty far apart.
We do hope to keep on track with this one and be looking at it in 5 years like it's supposed to be done.
Really? Okay. That is supposed to happen. All right. Well, thanks. I look forward to that then.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay. No, I'm talking to you. Do you have anything else?
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, do you have anything else? Okay, I see that the hospital has been represented. Do you have something this morning? Come on up.
Oh, it's on. Okay, good. I may go into a spastic cough here, so you have to bear with me. So, the report, Kathy Arias, the newly selected CEO, she's going to be on board 30 May. So there'll be a couple of days of transition, but I'm available up to 30 days if they want me. They don't pay me unless they use me, so that'll be good. Okay, let's go right into the Cancer Center. Request for proposal. We had 2 respondents to our request for proposal. One of them was New Mexico Oncology Hematology Consultants, known as the Dr. McEnany Group, and the other one was University of New Mexico Comprehensive Cancer Center. UNMCCC was selected, and GRMC, we initially met last Thursday, to start negotiations on a contract. New Mexico Oncology Hematology Consultants has filed an appeal. The appeal does not stop the negotiations, and we're actually just pressing on, waiting to see what comes from the appeal and continuing our negotiations because we hope that the transition will take place 17-18 July, although that could be extended depending on some of the issues that we're coming up with. Questions? I'm not sure. It went to the state procurement office. I know for sure. We do have copies of it, so we're having our legal counsel checking it out to see if there's anything else that we need to do with it.
Other questions?
Okay. All right. Let's get into some good stuff then. Meditech is still go live for 1 June. Okay, and we have nothing that shows that it won't go live. We're doing testing. We froze everything. We're not making any changes effective 8 May. And unless I haven't approved any to date. So we're moving forward, 1 June. Statistics for March. This is the March report to you. It's a bit late because I have not given the April report to the board. That comes this Friday, or next Friday. So statistics, admissions, we had 183, the second highest year to date, 32 fewer from 2016, the same month. Outpatient visits, 4352, 174 less than 2016. ER visits, 1575, highest year to date, though 68 less than 2016. Surgeries, 405. Second highest month this fiscal year, 69 more than 2016. The clinics, the highest month for all the clinics except for family practice, which was just 4 patients less than 2016. So cardiology, we had 542, pain management 176, surgical services 204, family practice 882. And those are all in the clinic. They're all outpatient visits. They're not, some of them do surgical cases and things like that. I didn't break them out that way. Full-time equivalents, the FTEs, in February, we had 540, March, we had 522, I think April, we're going to be holding about 522. There's still a lot of staffing levels that need to be looked at. We're still rich in staff. So that'll be for the next CEO to take a look at. See what else. Okay, financials. The net revenue in March was 7.3 million. Bad debt was 436,000. So the net revenue was 6.9 million. Total expenses 6.3 million. That's where our highest line, and that is obviously staffing, as it probably is in all areas. So the net operating income was 281K positive. Okay, so that leaves us since January, we had a 20K positive. February, we had a 40K negative. March, we have a 281 positive, and April will be positive. I just don't know how much. And that concludes my report, sir.
Comments?
Maybe I should ask you this privately, but have you determined whether you'll be able to be at the forum?
I'll be there.
Okay.
And I'm the only one that I know that it's going to be there from, you know, I don't think anybody from the board is going to be there.
Okay. So thanks for that thorough report.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there.
I appreciate it. Thanks for
So, am I first or second on the list? How's that going to run?
We'll talk to you about that.
Can you send me an email then? Just send me an email.
Okay. That's
all right. Thanks.
So I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
Would you explain to us what the RFP process was for the cancer center, why you decided to do it at this time? Was it naturally up? Can you give us
I can give you a heads up, okay? The actual contract was expiring in November of 2016, okay? So we engaged the last extension that we could extend, which required us to do an RFP. We were coming on the 4th year. Usually contracts after 4 years, you have to go out. As I was informed, you have to go out for an RFP, and when I got here, that was already in process. So, you know, I just moved along with what was already in place. So, other questions?
So, in the RFP process, or in the decision-making process on the RFP, is there any way in the RFP process to take into consideration an organization that has been in place for a long period of time, that the community is used to, et cetera? Is that part of can that be taken into consideration in the procurement?
Let me ask you, you all requested the proposal. Did you receive it?
Yes.
Okay, in the proposal itself, you see the criteria that was laid out.
Yes.
Okay? In one of those, in the ones that were 35 points, probably, I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but if you look at it, you can see where that particular issue can be addressed. Because there were issues, 70 points of the criteria were in providing services, not only local, but statewide, and 30 points were not. You can see it. If you please go back and look at the request for proposal. I think they had it pretty well. Like I said, it was already done before I got here. I just pushed it on. But as you can see, whoever developed the criteria had already developed from a lot of perspective.
Okay, thank you.
So in that information that Alicia requested, will that say who's on the committee?
No.
That made the decision?
No,
Okay.
because I wasn't requested, you only requested the request for proposal. We can only provide what is written, what document or request.
Okay,
So,
so
at least that's what I've been informed, so.
is that information that you can provide? Who was on?
I don't know if I can provide it now. I don't know if I can provide it now, or it has to be provided until after the contract negotiations are settled.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not aware. But
don't bother with any more
if you send me a written request for the information, then I can pass it through legal counsel and they can advise me. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes.
So on the appeal process, what is the timeline for the appeal process?
I don't know, ma'am, I don't know. I don't think there is but I'm not aware. Let me just back off on that. I don't know.
That's a good answer.
So then theoretically, the appeal process could take longer than, so your target to make the changeover is, I heard you say the 17th or 18th of July?
Actually, the termination letter to New Mexico Oncology was 7th of July per, the contract, but, which meant that a new respondent would have taken over on the 18th, but in the initial meeting with UNM, I think there's going to be some issues that's going to require longer. And I don't know what to do about that. I don't know what to do about that. I'll have to seek counsel on that, because since this was the last extension that we should have created, so.
The last extension to NMCC?
Yes.
And so that, if negotiations take longer with UNM, then,
It'll be based on operations.
okay, someone will need to go to New Mexico Cancer Center and then ask them to stay. They've already been sent a
Yeah,
termination.
we'll have to determine on that, because in my opinion, there will be no interruption of cancer services.
Okay.
One way or the other. We just have to keep services open. I mean, there won't be any, in my opinion, we're not gonna stop services.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Oh, wait, I got one over here. I didn't.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. At the risk of discouraging representatives from coming to talk to us, I have some other questions.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you being here.
Sure.
I actually had probably more questions for the board, who's not here, than for you.
Well, Ray, you can, just call Jeremiah.
Yeah. The part that are for you, constituents have brought to my attention concerns about the process by which the new CEO was selected. And two of them, I think, are things you can shed light on.
Well, I think your own commissioner can shed light on it too. He was on the selection board.
I'd like to ask you these questions. One of them is that the consulting firm that was chosen to help conduct the search is one on which you are a managing director. Is that correct?
I am a managing director of Executive Workforce Consultants.
Which, of course, raises concerns about how...
It was fully disclosed.
Can you explain how that
I was not part of that. I was not part of the selection process.
Only the Board of Trustees selected that
them,
firm?
yes.
But they selected them after having hired you as interim, correct?
Yes, I think. I don't know exact dates there. So they were running the contracts. They were running the contracts separately.
Okay.
So my contract is not with me. My contract is with my firm.
And is that the same firm as the one that was selected for the search? There are two different firms involved here.
No, Executive Workforce Consultants is the firm that got the interim job, which they assigned to me.
Right.
And Executive Workforce Consultants is the firm that received the search for the CEO.
And conceivably, that could have been the same decision as far as you know?
You have to ask.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, some of them are for the board.
That was one of the reasons I wanted to be arm's length from everything.
Perfect, that's great.
My job was to be the interim CEO.
And this one, there may be reasons you can't answer it, but you knew you had worked in some capacity with Ms. Arias?
That's correct.
Previously?
10 years ago.
And was that through also the workforce?
No, it was not. That was, we were both with a corporate management of hospitals with UHS, Universal Health Systems.
And so that was before she was in the position she's in now, 'cause she's only been
Yeah,
there for a couple of years.
at that time, she was the chief nurse.
Okay.
She was my chief nurse, our chief nurse, Eagle Pass, Texas.
And then did you recommend that the search group contact her? Is that how they
Well,
came about?
one of the things that EWC provides a, you know, if you know qualified individuals, you just toss them, you know, they get tossed into the candidate.
Right, which is a good thing. We want as many qualified
Yes,
individuals as we can.
she's, how can I say, she's been a colleague of mine since we both left UHS. So, you know, I saw her go through larger CNO positions and then also now be the CEO of, you know, running a for-profit hospital in North Carolina.
Okay, thank you. Those are just additional facts that help me answer questions.
Well, I have a follow-up question to Harry's questions. Was the selection of you as the interim CEO, was that an RFP process? Did that go
I don't
through
know.
RFP?
I don't know. All I know is I got a call from the board, wanting to know if I wanted to be considered. There were, my understanding, there was 3 candidates. We all had interviews.
And what
I don't know what
about,
the process was before. I don't have access to that.
what about the selection of EWC as the consultant for the search? Was that handled by RFP?
I don't think it was handled by RFP. I think it was just a sole source.
Sole source, okay.
You know, you have to ask board and probably the corporate compliance would be the people that can answer that question directly. As I said, I try to stay arm's length from anything that could be a potential conflict of interest. All right, thanks. All right. And this will be my last report, the next one will be Kathy, so I had a good time here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so we've moved through all the county reports. Does anybody have anything to finish it up for the day?
Yeah, I just would like to make a clarification about the event that is happening tonight. I think it has been misconstrued in the public as being sponsored by the Grant County Commission, and I just want to clarify that it is not being sponsored by the commission or by the county. It is being hosted by Commissioner Billings and myself, and it is being hosted as us as individual commissioners, not in our official, or not the commission officially sponsoring it. With that said, 6 o'clock tonight here in the commission chambers, if anybody is interested in hearing or speaking about their concerns about the hospital.
I have a question. So tonight, I understand so tonight you've invited board members, and I just heard they weren't going to come, but I heard that the CEO is going to come. And I assume you've invited I wrote it down here, the New Mexico Oncology Group. Did you invite UNM also?
Mr. Billings, I think, can answer that.
Yeah, I invited, I sent an invitation to Alfredo and asked him to invite whoever he wanted to.
Oh, okay. I'm scared to death it just turns into a one-sided thing that you won't get a lot of
Yeah, and we
really great
expressed that,
information.
and there's a couple of the trustees have contacted me and said they're going to try to be here. There's some potential conflict with one of them being on call. So I expect them to be here. So we'll have a sign-up sheet here at 5:30, and it'll be pretty much first come, first served. If there is a cancer patient who needs to get out of here because they're not feeling well, we may give them priority to speak first. And we were going to, last I heard, the CEO wasn't sure, he had to check with legal to know whether he could speak or not. So it sounds like that he can, and we'll get him to sign up on the speaking sheet somewhere.
So you guys are just going to co-facilitate it?
Yeah, I'll probably open the meeting, and it'll be very short. We'll explain that we're not taking sides, but that we have a lot of questions from the public, and they have the public has a desire, especially the patients and those that are affected, to ask their questions. And so the purpose of this community discussion is to get their questions out there, not for myself or Commissioner Edwards to take a position on what's going on.
And I'm glad you explained that, because that was my big concern. I don't want this thing to be one-sided, especially because there's appeals going on right now. I think we need to hold our opinions to ourselves, especially as commissioners, and make sure that people do know that they are not you are not representing us as a whole due to legality. So
Well, I think the issue has been all along for the public is really concerned about what's happening with the hospital and really feels like they haven't had an opportunity to speak about it, to be heard about their concerns. And so that was really the intention, is to provide a forum for people to voice their concerns, not to take sides, not to make any judgments, just to allow people to have the process of being heard.
And I also would like to say that I think RFP processes are a good thing. I think that whenever there's competition, it's always a good thing for a community. But again, I'm just glad to hear you all saying you're not representing the whole commission due to legalities.
Okay, anybody else? I want to thank everybody for their reports today. I especially want to thank our new addition, Barb Shalkowski. Thanks for coming in and taking care of dispatch. Like I said, you're always welcome. We'll have they're going to have the forum tonight at 6. The commission meeting will be Thursday at 9. Is there anything else that needs to come for the commission today? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So,
Second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes.